Hi, I'm Steve Erickson from the MidlifeSolopreneur.com.
And I'm Jake Erickson from FlowCampaigns.com.
This is our daily debrief where we're going through some of the things that we have worked on today. And you can follow along with what we've been doing, thinking about, and implementing, and various things. So, Jake, what date is it today and what episode are we at?
So today is August 14th, and today is episode number 19. So it's a Friday, so you just had your Q&A call for your course.
And at the Q&A call today, what I would like to share with you is I went through a little bit of planning when you are getting very, very busy. The challenge is when you're getting more busy, do you actually have time to do the work that needs to be done? And what I shared with my course participants is something called the Eisenhower decision matrix. He came up with an interesting chart, you could call it, I guess, diagram, where you have something is either urgent or not urgent, and it's also either important or not important. And you should only really focus on the things that are both urgent and important. If it's not important and not urgent, just delete it, get rid of it. If it is urgent but not important, get somebody else to do it. If you at all can, just get somebody else to do it.
Yeah. And
if it's not urgent but important, decide when you're going to do it, because at some stage it probably will become urgent.
Yeah.
So what I talked to my course participants about was the fact that as I'm getting busier, as I am getting more clients, as I'm getting more demands on my time, I have to become much better at actually deciding what is urgent and important, and what can I delegate, and what should I just leave alone for the time being and schedule another time to do it.
Yeah.
And one of the ways I'll be doing that is to put much more of my time into my diary, into my calendar. I use Google Calendar at the moment. Yeah. And if I schedule and slot in time saying, hey, I'm going to work for a client at this particular time, I'm going to do writing work and producing or recording this podcast into the calendar, then I know that I've got time to do everything I need to do.
Absolutely. And I think here it's not, you have to do this exact thing at this exact time. When you are a solopreneur, and sure, you have meetings with clients, but there'll be a lot of times of the day where it's you working by yourself.
Yeah.
And having this will allow you to maintain a structure and have a plan for what you're doing. And then if something happens, you can readjust as needed.
Yeah.
If you move something for an hour later because you're right in the middle of something and you've got a good flow going on, that's totally fine as well.
Yeah.
But it's, to provide an overall structure and really have a plan for what you're working on, because that's so important, that accountability you show yourself.
Yes.
As a solopreneur.
Absolutely. That's a key thing, really. As a solopreneur, you're accountable to yourself, not to other people. And when you are in the working life, you might have a manager who you're accountable to. And that manager is you when you're a solopreneur. And that's so important, because if you don't have that accountability to yourself, you're most likely to let things slip. And if you let things slip, you won't be getting the success that you need and want and deserve.
Yeah. What you kind of need to do is, put on your manager hat saying, okay, here are the tasks that need to get done. I'm going to schedule them in. And then you put on your working hat and do them. Those should be two separate decisions. So you're not trying to play multiple roles at the same time.
Absolutely.
We're pretty bad at switching between tasks and ways of thinking. So schedule your time to do your managerial decisions, and then schedule time to also do your actual work, where you're getting into the flow and into, potentially the technical, potentially research, potentially, interacting with clients as well.
Absolutely. This was actually the principle of the E-Myth by Michael Gerber, is that you're creating an organizational chart of everything that needs to be done in the organization. So sometimes you're wearing your finance hat because you're chasing payments and you are checking or doing your accounts. Sometimes you're putting on your operational hat when you're planning your course and when you're going to execute it and how you're going to do the onboarding and things like that. So you always play different roles when you are a solopreneur. You don't have one single role. There are many different things that you're doing, and being able to sort out what you're doing, when you're doing it, and how you're doing it is crucial to your success as a solopreneur.
Yeah. One thing that isn't included in the Eisenhower matrix, in my understanding, and that's important to include, is also thinking about not only how long do tasks take, but how long do responses to tasks take. So as an example, we're planning the Solopreneur Accelerator Summit. And one of the things that we're doing is looking for speakers.
Mm-hmm.
And the time from when you post online saying, I'm looking for a speaker, and the time for speakers to actually respond to you, there will be a delay.
Yeah.
It will take time for people to see the post. It will take time for them to formulate their response. And in that lead time is when you can be working on other things.
Yes.
If you get to the point where deciding on the speakers is urgent, but you haven't done the prior work, then you're going to realize that you're going to quickly run out of time.
You are, yes.
So part of implementing the Eisenhower decision matrix effectively is saying what will be urgent that I do need to get started on now, so it can be done by the time it is urgent.
Yes.
It's not urgent right now, but let me put the first 2 steps in place, and that can run by itself for a little bit while I work on other things, and then finish up with steps 3 and 4 when it really is urgent.
Absolutely. And one way of looking at it is step 1 and 2 urgent now, and step 3 and 4 will be urgent later.
Fair enough. Yeah. But I guess that's a good perspective, is that, you might have one project and then multiple parts of that will have different urgencies at different times.
Yeah.
And it's important to do the first things that will enable the later things to happen.
Yeah.
And as we're collaborating together, one of the things that we use is Clickup, which is essentially a project management tool that we're both using. And that helps us keep track of tasks that need to be done, projects that we're working on, helps us have accountability and transparency between each other as well.
Absolutely.
So we found that's very useful for us.
Yeah, and because it also allows us to actually define what's urgent and important within Clickup as well. So we can keep track of the Eisenhower matrix method within Clickup, which is really great tool.
Yeah, and we can assign tasks to each other. So I can say, at Steve, and the task gets assigned to you. You can add comments. You can send it back to me.
Yeah.
So it's a really good way for us to interface with each other. And, it is a method we found that works for us. It might not work for you. The best way to do it is to check it out, see what kind of style and methodology you like for managing your projects, but you should have some method.
Yeah.
That really goes into it. Like, there needs to be a plan. You should be using a calendar software. You should be able to have a good place to take notes, for instance.
Absolutely.
Being organized is very important.
Yes, indeed it is.
It is.
Absolutely. Right. I think that's it for today.
Yep. I'll be there for today.
So thank you very much for staying with us and listening or watching on YouTube or Spotify or Apple iTunes, which is where we are at the moment.
Okay.
So yes, absolutely. All right. Speak to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.